following is a presentation given at the Thai Texas Funding Forum 2015 in January. The partners are TEN and the Business Makers Show, sponsored by Baker Hughes Incorporated. And this presentation is by myLAB.
Let's move to our next one called myLAB. And with that, I'll pass it over to Ursula. Kick off when you're ready.
Welcome, everybody, to the myLAB Box presentation. What started as Girl Talk with the two digital media entrepreneurs about a year and a half ago has become what we believe will revolutionize the way we our vision is to become the go-to alternative to in-lab testing across a multitude of diseases and health conditions globally. Before we dive deeper, it's really important to understand that what we are talking to you about today is not something that concerns just young people population that's engaging in what's so-called risky behaviors. We're talking about an epidemic of mass proportions. 110 million U.S. adults live with a viral STD today, with a rate of infections of 20 million new infections every year. Half of U.S. Americans will contract an STD in their lifetime, and globally, STIs are in the top 5 disease categories for which adults seek health care. When we look at the jarring statistics, we ask ourselves, what is the breakdown? Less than half of U.S. adults 18 to 44 have tested for an STD other than an HIV, and leaving most prevailing diseases undetected. Clearly, something is not working. And as we looked deeper, as marketers, we were very excited to find out that the problem really wasn't in the availability of testing technology, or it was really in the way that those technologies were delivered to the customers. Current STD testing procedures are complicated, expensive, time-consuming, and very uncomfortable. And when it comes to it, there's really no standardization of what to test for and what type of results are being provided to the customers and how frequently. So we looked at successful mass e-commerce solutions online, and we looked at the problem that we were trying to solve, and what we believe we provided a solution that eliminates all the hurdles associated with conventional testing, capturing an untapped market and willing consumers. We've identified 4 key qualities of the solution that we believe will guarantee success. It is convenient. You can screen anytime and anywhere. It is easy. Screening is practically automated. Affordable, half the cost of typical and similar testing models, and it's private. Results are not shared with insurance providers, meaning that they cannot impact the cost of other coverage down the line. Well, that results into early detection and early treatment, and that means savings downstream for health complications for both the users and health providers. The core market we are starting with to roll out the solution to is 152 million U.S. Americans, men between 25 and 44, and women 18 to 34. These are also the most active online buyers and most socially engaged. We're looking at unmarried adults in the U.S. who are 18 plus, who represent almost 50% of our population, and over 56 million U.S. adults who remain single their entire lives and typically enjoy larger disposable income. The product is what we call the Safe Box. For as low as $145, one can order the box online and screen for the most common STIs from the comfort of their home on a frequency that matches their lifestyle. In the box are self-administered simple collection kits that a user can do in as little as 5 minutes without setting a foot inside a lab. They mail in their samples to our lab for fast, certified electronic results in a matter of days. And those results are just as accurate as going into a lab with no physician overhead and half the cost, using FDA-approved technology.
Okay, our addressable market is currently $8 billion, and that is the diagnosis and treatment of STDs in the U.S. Our go-to-market strategies, we've currently secured LOIs from partners and affiliates that address a prospective user base of over 6 million. That includes partners such as Planned Parenthood. We have recently launched sales and are running an AdWords test that tripled our traffic over 30 days. In Q1, we are launching a launch campaign called Get Closer Faster, which includes integration of co-marketing opportunities with condom brands, other integrations such as dating sites, as well as a YouTube influencer video contest. We are also launching a beta test with a pilot university. We are identifying a university now, USC. as well as payer integrations with health insurance and FSA. So how is it that we know this is going to work? There are two models that clearly prove demand for an at-home STD testing system. The first one is a company that operates just in the UK. They're called Just Between Us. And in just 15 months, they scaled to 100,000 tests per year. And that's just with 2 mail-in kits in a market 5 times smaller than the US. In the US, OraQuick, the rapid HIV kit, that's the only STD rapid kit sold over the counter in the US, ramped to 400,000 units in just 16 months. And that's just with one test. So clearly there's demonstrated demand for an at-home STD testing model. And our customers concur. In thousands of marketing surveys that we have done, we've actually found that singles are more proactive than we even anticipated. 3/4 saying that they test before a new partner or they test often. And an overwhelming majority chose the myLAB Box at-home model over a comparably priced in-lab model. We launched in early December, and we are generating revenue. In that 30-day beta test, we acquired 70 beta customers, 6,000 in sales, and we're already starting to see repeat customers. That was on a small PPC spend of about 4,000. And our COA to date is 95. We've arrived at optimized set of keywords and are now working on driving up ROI. Our primary competitors all refer users to labs for testing. The biggest one being STD Test Express. We are more affordable on a test-per-test basis. We are, of course, 100% private and do not require users to go into a lab. Get STD Tested, their primary model, also refers users to labs. They have a small at-home program with 4 tests. We are 100% focused on an at-home model. We have a much broader spectrum of 6 tests at substantially better prices and a fast turnaround of 3 to 5 days compared to over a month or more with Get STD Tested. There are some public health programs you will see out there, but they are very limited in scope, usually a specific county and females under 25. Bottom line is that myLAB Box is a first mover in a space that we have created that clearly addresses the pain points of users when it comes to testing in labs, clinics, and doctors' offices. Our financial projections in year 1, we are focused on the U.S. market, anticipating $2 million in sales. In year 2, expanding in the U.S. and test marketing our program in other English-speaking countries such as the UK and Canada, and tripling our sales. And then going into year 3, 4, and 5, expanding into additional at-home testing verticals globally up to $33 million. A couple of key KPIs. We are looking at a positive net in 16 months, driving down our COA for year 1 to about $70 and ultimately beyond to 25%. And currently our gross profit margin is 50%, and that of course will get better with volume. A little bit about a few of our key managers. Laura and I are building the sales and marketing engine for myLAB Box. My background is I've started 2 other digital startups, the last one a pioneer in online video marketing that we grew to $10 million over 3.5 years, and that was prior to any investment. Laura having spearheaded PR and customer acquisition for e-tailer Newegg.com as well as several startups. Our Chief Science Officer, Gary Richwald, has a deep background in STDs and STD prevention. As our Chief Science Officer, he was the former Director and Chief Physician of the LA County Department of Health STD branch, and most recently an advisor for mHealth startup Pocketbox. He is focused on product development and partnership development. A little about fundraising. As I said, we are generating revenue now as of December. We secured a $30,000 convertible note from Houston Health Ventures as well as $10,000 from Founders. We are now seeking $600,000 total to get us to positive ROI, starting with $100,000 to scale sales and also integrate in payers so that users can use health insurance and FSA. That's the end of our formal presentation, but we're open for questions.
Well, very good, Ursula. We've had several questions come in as you were speaking. The first is, what about Analyte? Is this not what Analyte does?
Analyte is the company that is behind STD Test Express, and as I explained, their model is they refer users to labs for testing. So the user still has to go through the complication of booking an appointment, going into a lab, getting their blood drawn, and waiting for results. And as we've identified, that's what the breakdown is in the market and the reason why so many users are not testing.
All right. Next question is, how are you dealing with the liability for false positive tests or the false negative tests?
Well, ultimately, the liability bears the same impact as it does with the conventional testing model. It goes with the lab. So what we are ultimately is reselling a lab-certified result, and we have done initial validation surveys that show that it's the same accuracy as you would if you were in person in the lab versus doing it at home. So we've seen no deviations there, and the liability ultimately still lies with the testing facility.
All right. Is the FDA info on or in the kit?
Say that again?
Is the FDA information, is that in the kit someplace?
Yes. So all the technology they were using is FDA approved, and that is in the kit. It's on all of our literature.
And what is the technology behind it?
It's very simple. I mean, if you go into a lab, you're going to get a teacup, right? If you're a man, and with women, it's a vaginal swab. So most of our testing is done on a urine sample, a vaginal swab, and in the case with HIV, it's a small little blood prick.
Is the tech proprietary, and does that make you the market leader?
The technology that is out there is already existing technology. What we have done is worked with our lab to develop a self-administered kit. So we've gone through all the validation studies to put everything together so that it is validated for at-home use. We also have distribution on kits that are certified in over 60 countries.
Okay. And what specific tests will you be live with in the next 6 months?
So right now we are live, and that is chlamydia, gonorrhea, trich, HIV, and hepatitis C.
So do the test results come back to you, or do they go directly from the lab?
They come through the lab into our platform.
Okay. And so what is the price point, what is the testing cost, and then what is your margin?
What is the price point? It's $145. It's we're 50% right now. We're about a little less than 50% in COGS. I didn't give the last piece.
Well, what's the margin you get on each product?
Right,
after
50-50.
So you get 50% margin on that. I got you.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is 482 CLV in 18 months a reasonable expectation for this consumer group? So $482 customer lifetime value in 18 months, is that a reasonable expectation, or how did you arrive at that?
So we've looked at return customer ratios for services that deal with kind of online models. There's obviously not a direct kind of comp to what we're doing, but based on market research of return customers' lifetime value, as well as just modeling it off of the initial volume of return sales that we've already gotten since we launched.
Yeah. So we've really looked at this across a broad spectrum of e-commerce.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ursula. Thank you so much, Laura.